the South Florida Business Report, the only show in South Florida devoted exclusively to the local business community, is brought to you as a community service.
The sinking dollar is creating some great deals for vacationers. So coming up next, I talk with our show's travel editor, Giuliano Lorenzani, to get his take on getting a big bang for the vacation buck.
Well, everything is going on. We are at the tail end of a season that has seen a lot of price pressures on all the vendors in the travel business. And even now, in December, for instance, you can find terrific deals if you want to go on a cruise from South Florida. You can buy 75% off on deluxe cruises.
You know, you just mentioned it. We've got a ton of new ships coming in.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
What's happening with that?
Here's the thing. This has been the year where everybody has gone out and built a huge ship or larger ship.
Right.
And in terms of capacity, what is happening is that they have added this year, in 2010, about 15,000 berths. Every 7 days, these have to be filled. So what common sense says that you know they had to do something with the prices.
My God.
So the prices will come down. Additionally, next year, starting with Disney has a brand new ship that is going to come in January. They will have an additional 4 ships, which brings another 11,000 berths.
Wow.
So altogether, in the last 2 years, you will have an addition 26,000 berths that had to be filled every week or 10 days.
Do you think that sounds mammoth? Do you think they'll be able to do that?
They think they can.
Yeah, they're betting a lot of money they can, right?
Ooh, you're talking about close to 45 billions to build all these ships.
Wow.
Unfortunately, none of this money in this country. But fortunately, when these ships come at, like in the ports of South Florida, the economy, you know, will benefit from it. Because,
absolutely.
You know, of all the port charges that they have to pay,
right?
Plus all the foods that have to be brought on board and so forth.
Well, you know, in South Florida alone, you know, my statistics reveal there's 43,000 jobs are connected with the cruise industry just here in South Florida.
I'm sure, and there will be more. Because, you know, increased capacity, increased everything. So.
Absolutely. They're going to have to, you know, provisions to, you know, it takes, you know, one of these ships, it costs about $300,000 a day just to operate one of these. Yeah.
Oh, sure. But those are the medium-sized ships. If you take one that perhaps carries 6,000 passengers, you go into the millions per day. Wow. Millions per day, because of the crew that they have on board, because of the amount of fuel that they use, because of, you know, the whole running the whole. They're like cities that they go from one place to another. I know places in the south that have less population than one of the ships.
Yeah, that's right. And right at Clewiston, right out here on the lake. Yeah, they got less population than the ocean and the seas. You know.
That's right. And what is interesting, David, is that if you think of that in terms of 1 week. This population is there, 6,000 people on board. Boom. Next week, another 6,000 people.
Yeah, that's right.
And so on and so forth. So, you know, what it does also, it puts a lot of pressure on hotels or, you know, packaging, land packages.
Right. Yeah, the airlines too, flying in.
The one thing that, this is typical of South Florida, I think, that people in South Florida don't really like to fly. Especially when they go on a vacation, if they go on a long vacation, because let's face it, it's not the easiest thing to go through the airports and catch up with the schedule.
It's a hassle.
So some cruise lines have scheduled cruises for next year to go from South Florida, just either from Miami or Fort Lauderdale, depending on the cruise line, around South America and come back, from South Florida to Europe and come back. I think that is phenomenal. 45 days is one cruise that goes in October, and the rates are astronomical. Like you can start on this cruise particularly that I'm thinking about, you can start with less than $6,000 for an inside cabin, less than $6,000 for 45 days.
Wow.
And if you want a balcony, it goes around $9,000. But the point is that they're gearing themselves, especially to those who, you know, like more. They had the time and they had the money,
right,
and
right.
maybe they're very happy with the political outcome and they want to do something, or maybe they're not happy with the political outcome and they really want to do something. Yeah. So, and you're going to see this trend continuing because, again, the airlines are about the only ones that have not increased their capacity. Indeed, right. They have reduced the capacity to contain the prices and to create profits. So, you know, now the cruise line will do more longer cruises and in and out of one port.
All right, well, listen, our travel editor of the South Florida Business Report, Giuliano Lorenzani, God bless you.
Thank you.
You're a pro in the travel business. You really know what you're doing.
Thank you.
All righty, and you got to come back around Christmas, and we got to see what other deals are on the marketplace.
Oh, there will be plenty, and it will be my pleasure.
Right,
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Giuliano.
Thank you.
And stay with us. We'll return right after these words.